Hello subscribers, today's review will be on the new Camp Cretaceous Soundstrike Parasaurolophus. Now when I first saw images of this figure, I took just one glance at it and I didn't think much of it, simply because it was just a retool. Then months later I came across it at a Walmart and I didn't even hold it in my hands. Instead, I once again took one glance and I didn't really care for it. It wasn't until I saw some reviews of the toy and realized how nice the sculpt was compared to the 2019 Parasaurolophus. Eventually, I decided to go to a different Walmart to find it, and I ended up picking the last one on the shelf. So, as always on this channel, we'll take a quick look at the packaging. So of course, this figure is packaged in the amazing Camp Cretaceous style box. And then, on the bottom right, you got some characters from the show, including Toro the Carnotaurus, as well as Kenji, Brooklyn, and the main protagonist, Darius. So, turning the box around, of course you got the same old card and sticker that I probably won't take out of the packaging. And then on the bottom right, you got the Soundstrike Irritator and Majungasaurus, which are two of my favorite Primal Attack figures. So let's waste no time and free the Parasaurolophus. The detailing of this Parasaurolophus is pretty much the same as the Dino Rivals figure, by looking at, the head, the arms, and the feet. The only difference in detailing I can spot is that the scale detail on the body seems to be more crisp. Let me take out the Dino Rivals one. You see here how visible the details are on here more than this one. Also, by looking at both toys from the top, this one is more robust than this one. So also some advantages I like to point out about this one over this one. The advantage that stood out to me the most is the plastic quality. See, that feels like a pretty durable, thick plastic. But then when you tap this one, yeah, that feels pretty cheap, and that feels like a Hasbro figure. Another advantage is that this one has a hump right here. When I first bought this figure last year, I thought the sculpt was good, but I felt like something was missing from it. It wasn't until I opened up this one and realized that it was missing the hump. I'm pretty sure that Parasaurolophus in real life and in the Jurassic World films had this little hump right here. So good job on Mattel for improving the sculpt of this one. Moving on to the colors of the figure, what stands out the most is the glossy pink on its back and its thighs. This is of course based off of the Parasaurolophus that we've seen in Camp Cretaceous, specifically the bioluminescent ones. Now, it's good that Mattel decided to make a figure based off of those specific parasaurs, but one issue is that the stripings were glowing pink. They didn't have any of these random splotches all over their body, which is laziness on Mattel's part. To add to the laziness, they didn't continue the striping down the tail. Let's bring out the Dino Rivals figure to compare the paint jobs. And honestly, I feel the same about both of these paint jobs. I don't really like one over the other. Well, some advantages of this one I can point out is that the striping continues all the way down the tail, and also the toenails are painted. You can move the head, which is on a ball joint, and I like how it has more movement than the previous one. The arms are also on a ball joint, and they move really smoothly, and I like that. And the legs, you can move them too, and they click into place. They click in very nicely, unlike some other Mattel dinosaurs. And you can also pivot them inwards and outwards as well. So yeah, that makes 5 points of articulation, but 6 if you want to count the action feature, which we will talk about right now. Like all sound strikes, you move the tail in order to hear those sound effects. So yeah, it's a good thing that this Parasaurolophus actually has herbivore sound effects, and they're quite similar to the Sinoceratops. Now, they're not 100% accurate to the Parasaurolophus from the films, but it's a lot better than giving carnivore sounds, like what Mattel did with giving Indoraptor sound effects to their Edmontosaurus figure. For the comparisons, let's bring out all of the other Camp Cretaceous figures I have so far. So as you can see, we've got the Attack Pack Dimorphodon and Bumpy, the Soundstrike Sinoceratops, and the Control and Conquer Carnotaurus Toro. Out of all of these, I think that Sinoceratops and Bumpy are the best. Here are two fellow ornithopods, which is the Soundstrike Edmontosaurus and the Attack Pack Colovosaurus. Out of these three toys, I think the Colovosaurus figure is my favorite. Now let's compare the Parasaurolophus next to the two figures it was released alongside. The Soundstrike Majungasaurus and the Soundstrike Irritator. You can see how brightly colored all of these dinosaurs are. Here's a comparison with the three massive biters, which is the Ceots, Tarbosaurus, and Sarcosuchus. As always on this channel, we're going to put the Collectae Minisophacinus next to the reviewed figure. Final thoughts on the Soundstrike Parasaurolophus. I think it's a well done figure, and a step up from the Dino Rivals version in terms of the plastic quality and sculpting on the back and the neck. If you don't own any of the Mattel Parasaurolophus figures, I'd say pick up this one. You can find it at your local Walmart and Targets, though whenever my stores stocks this specific case, this Parasaurolophus is usually the last one that's being bought. Because, this is just a retool, and the carnivorous dinosaurs tend to sell better than the herbivorous dinosaurs. So if I had to rate this figure, I'd say she gets a 7.5 out of 10. I felt like they could have done better with the colors. The previous figure, I gave a 6 out of 10, I think. So if you guys like this review, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.